guys, back at the Outer Circle. In this episode of Getting Started in the Horus Heresy, we have the Blood Angels Part 3. So for more information about this series, please go and see the Imperial Fist video. I explained at the start of that a few things going on with the series and why I've chosen to do things a certain way. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it and look at Chapter Master Raldoron. He is the first captain of the Blood Angels, and all in all, a solid character. He is definitely better than the average Legion Praetor. Has an excellent weapon. It's a mastercrafted Paragon Blade. Murderous Strike on it will trigger on a 5+. Those are good things. He has Furious Charge of 2. That means he's going to strike at Strength 7 when charging. So big things you can do with him is basically instant killing a Dreadnought. You're going to wound on Dreadnought on, say, 3s. You're going to do it at your initiative step. The Dreadnought is going to struggle to hit you because your weapon skill 7, which is much higher than the Dreadnought. And because of this and the fact that you have Murderous Strike on a 5+, the chance of causing those instant death wounds, which translates to D3 wounds, makes him a good Dreadnought killer. The best, no, can still be swatted by one with bad rolling, it happens. But he's solid. His interesting rule, though, the one that is the gimmick, because everyone's got to have a gimmick, is that he can take another Legion's Warlord trait. So, it's not Dark Angels. That's worth pointing out. He can't take from the Dark Angels, but he can take from everyone else. And you can take a lot of Warlord traits that give you minor buffs against, say, characters like Preferred Enemy or Feel No Pain or +1 Strength or It Will Not Die. But me personally, and the way I play the game, I think you're best off to take something like Promethean Will. Because if you are, Salamanders players like myself, immunity for pinning and fear is so huge these days. And yep, your restriction from that is you can't take Destroyers, you can't take Moritats, but you can still take things like Angel's Tears because they technically don't count as a Destroyer because no one thought to write that into the rules. So there are ways around it. And it's not even that important anyway, those units in the game. They are not what are going to win you the game necessarily. But if you have squads of infantry which suddenly are not being pinned by, say, shrapnel bolts, you've negated the entire reason that, say, an Iron Warriors player took them in the first place. Or if you go up against a sniper rifle wielding company, for example, a recon company, you're not going to get pinned down all over the board because of their effects. So really, really handy. Also good against things like demons. Demons the Ruin Storm or Galvorback, things like that. So I prefer to take a rule like that, something that's going to buff the whole army, as opposed to taking an already strong character and trying to make him even stronger, because even with a really good Warlord trait like Solar Marshal, you're not making him beat Sigismund. It's just not going to happen. So why go that route anyway? And he's already so much stronger than a regular Praetor, there's no point trying to buff him to make him better in that fight either, because it's going to go the same way regardless. So just an interesting thought for you. But overall, Chapter Master Raldoron, pretty good. Pretty good. Then we get to Dominion Zephon. Now, his gimmick is he has a two-handed master-crafted Paragon Blade without Murderous Strike. Instead, he is going for the Reaping Blow, so kind of like the Death Shroud Power Sides. He's going to make big swings with more attacks. He's got Rad Grenades, he's got Furious Charge, so he's going to inflict instant death on Toughness 3 stuff. Good for him. The minute he runs into anything that starts out at Toughness 5 or is battle hardened, then his problems will begin. And he's just not strong enough character simply. Now, he has an interesting little gimmick in that he's really good with Destroyers because that's his thing, and he can bring an Destroyer assault squad as a retinue. Cool, but elites are not so heavily contested that you need to take one as a retinue choice. And frankly, I think Angel's Tears are much better than Destroyer squads, just down to... it's down to many reasons. Go back and look at the episode on them. So I'm not a huge fan of Dominion Zephon. I think he's okay. His ability to inflict instant death and stuff in the Rad Grenades is all good and well, but he can't join units that aren't bitter duty, which is Destroyers, Angel's Tears, that kind of thing. And so you can't join him to units like, say, Dawnbreakers, in order to have them benefit from his rag grenades. And he doesn't need the rag grenades if he's already in a unit of destroyers, because he's already going to get the bonus from them. So it's a bit of a weirdly written character where the thing that's really good about him is negated by putting him in a squad, and you want to put him in a squad because on his own he's just going to die. So, yeah. Anyway, Judaika Ashroone. So he is a Book 8 character, and in the PDF now, because, well, he was a cool character, and we can't have that without a model. Games Workshop Policy 101. Now, unfortunate thing for him is that his rules are stupid. His rules are not bad, but the problem is he doesn't have a jump pack. Your Legion Destroyer types have jump packs. This is the problem. On foot, okay, you can put him with a squad of regular destroyers. But what are you going to do? You're going to take 9 destroyers? Well, no, you want to take at least 10, because you want to be able to take special weapons in the squad. It's 1 per 5 models, not 1 per 9 or 2 per 9. So you need to take full 10. That means you're going to be trying to take a transport to get them around the battlefield, okay? Here's a lot of points to sink into a squad already. And his main benefit is that he's giving buffs to all flame weapons. Now, this is good in that it'll affect like perdition weapons, it'll affect your heavy flamers, toxiferin flamers, combi flamers. They'll all get this re-rolling to wound, essentially, from the Virtue of Judgment special rule. Cool. But then the units that you're going to be putting him in don't have access to a heap of flamers, and if they do, well, templates suck. Templates suck in this edition, and I know people go on about how good they can be. I mean, I'm a Salamanders player, so I've pulled it off before where it's like, okay, here's my tactical support squad of flamers, and I'm going to hit you with like 4 flamers at once and cause like 60 wounds. Yeah, great. And against, say, like regular power armor or something, that's doable. But you don't come across regular power armor. The first thing you hit generally is forces come at you in waves in the Horus Heresy. And the first wave is usually the hardest wave, and that's usually Terminators. The second wave is usually Assault Troops and Breaches. And the final wave is whatever the hell they have left, which is usually Tactical Marines, okay? So that first wave that hits you of Terminators, they're probably going to be Cataphracti, and therefore they're going to be re-rolling their armor saves against your wounds, and you're going to cause nowhere near enough wounds to justify the points you have spent on causing those wounds. And this is a problem that affects the bloody Salamanders, who have some of the best flame weapons in the game. It's a problem that affects the Death Guard, who have some of the best flame weapons in the game. It's sort of hand in hand, and it affects Ashroone. So you have a slow character who's on foot, who needs to buy a vehicle in order to get around the battlefield, and the first thing he runs into is going to be immune to his main benefit. It's just not worth it. So I can't give him the thumbs up currently. I think he's just badly written as far as a character. He's a little bit more survivable because he's got this weird rule where if he dies, you roll a 4+, and he goes back into reserves the first time it happens. It's like, okay, cool. A little more survivable, great. But yeah, he needed a jump pack. That's probably the biggest thing for me. Alright, and then we get to the Primarch, and the Primarch is not good. Now, people are going to go, how is he not good? That's insane. Yeah, okay. He has his uses, and I do consider him in the upper tiers of Primarchs for practicality, which is, as I've stated in previous episodes, Primarchs who can move around the battlefield quickly, I will lean towards as far as Primarchs go. So Corax, Sanguinius, Kurz, Mortarium are the main 4 I think of in that regard. He has wings, he can move 14. Awesome. But he just doesn't hit hard enough. And I know that sounds insane, but okay, he's weapon skill 8. That's the same weapon skill as fucking Raldoron. The amount of times I've said fucking Raldoron in the last 4 episodes on the channel is insane. Yeah, he can fight as well as a mediocre Primarch in that regard. He is going to not hurt other Primarchs very well, like Leman Russ is a death sentence for him, Horus Lupercal is a death sentence for him. I mean, well, hey, it's fluffy, but the speed at which that death sentence occurs is what's going to blow your mind. Ferrus Manus is probably going to be death for him. Mortarian's probably going to be death. Basically, everyone is death for him, except for like the low leagues of Primarchs, like maybe Corax, Alfarius, Wargar, maybe Magnus, if he's not using psychic powers, like that end of the spectrum, because his main weapons are just badly written. He's got the Blading Carmine, which sounds great on the surface. Ooh, Paragon Blade, Murderous Strike 5+, Shred. It's got Rage 2, it's got Rampage 2, but he doesn't have enough attacks. See, he doesn't instant death things, and that's his problem. You're praying for the Murderous Strike to go off. He's going to run around and he's going to be hitting Terminators, and they're going to be surviving the Blading Carmine. You're never going to get Rampage with him, because he's probably going to have a retinue, and he's bulky 6. Like, good luck pulling it off, okay? So, Sanguinius is hitting people with a pillow, essentially. What he's really good at is killing power armor. Like, really insanely good at killing power armor. But the Blading Carmine, yeah, you're never going to outnumber power armor, so you're never going to get that Rampage, so you're not getting 10 attacks. So you're relying on him pulling the charge off, which he can reliably do, and then using his Rage and the Murderous Strike and the Shredding to try and cause wounds if you're using the sword. I don't suggest using the sword, therefore. So ditch the Blading Carmine, go straight to the Spear of Telesto, which is exactly the point we ended up at in Heresy 1.0. Because the Spear, yep, it's not Murderous Strike. Yep, it's not Shredding. Yep, it doesn't grant Rage. It doesn't grant Rampage. Well, you know what? Doesn't need Rage. Doesn't need the extra attacks. He has a weapon which is Strength 10 AP1. It's going to instant kill things. It can handily destroy vehicles thanks to the AP1. The thing that he's going to suffer against is something like a Dreadnought. Okay, everyone suffers against Dreadnoughts unless they have a ridiculous amount of multi-wounds that they cause. Funny enough, where it's actually going to benefit him the most is fighting those things like Terminators. Because although you dropped a number of attacks, you're Strength 10 now, so you're going to reliably kill them. You're going to reliably kill Gel Vorbak. These are all things you could not do with the sword. I find it incredible that that's how they wrote him. And he just, weapon skill 8 and doesn't have that many attacks. Like, yeah, he will kill power armor, but there is a good chance that Sanguinius would actually go down to just a couple of Terminators of Thunderhammers in a single turn. It's basically all or nothing on the charge with this Primarch. You charge in, you go, great, my armor is going to give me reroll invulnerable saves that I fail in that first turn of combat. Now, get the hell out of Dodge. If you can't win that combat in the first round, what the hell are you doing there? Because it's just, you're screwed. He does provide a pretty good trait to the Legion, which is +1 weapon skill on the charge to anyone with a jump pack or that deployed via deep strike, which is really cool. But of course, the units that would benefit most from that sort of thing, I mean, it's good on Assault Marines, let's not mince words, but you really want to be getting it on something like Terminators, and getting a Terminator to deep strike means taking Rites of War or taking some sort of transport option that's going to provide it for them. You aren't a Legion that has access to, teleport on your Terminators by default like some do. So a bit of a problem there. But, I'd say it's a pretty good Warlord trait overall, because if your army is full of jump pack Marines, and it's going to be because you're Blood Angels, then you're going to get a lot of benefit out of it. He's also going to, do all the normal sort of Primarch stuff, like, hey, everyone within 6 inches of me, you get +1 to the number of wounds you inflict in close combat for resolution purposes, yada yada. Yeah, that's pretty normal sort of stuff. For ranged gear, funny enough, he can throw away the spear, and that's just hilarious to me, because it's a 12-inch attack, instant death, strength 10, AP1, that kind of thing. it's not even going to instant kill a Contempt Dreadnought, but maybe if there was some sort of Praetor, I don't know, maybe Causewayne is something, or Lucius the Eternal is sitting there on the other side, and you're just like, fuck it, let's just spear the prick for fun. Yeah, okay, then maybe it's worth doing for the meme. But if you do that, you are going to be left with just your Moon Silver Blade, and it's not exactly the strongest weapon known to Primarchs. So, yeah, it's Mastercrafted, it's AP2, fine, but yeah, your initiative and attacks aren't up there. Like, pretty much you're at Sigismund's stat line if you throw away the spear. Sigismund would probably beat Sanguinius in that fight, and that is a scary thought. But yeah, that's it. He is not a great written Primarch just because he can't kill Terminators. That's really what it comes down to. Like, you're talking 2 Terminators a turn on average is what the Primarch of the Blood Angels will kill. It's just disgustingly low level of damage for what he should be. He should be an absolutely terrifying monster, but because of the changes with 2.0 and the way that a lot of units gained multiple wounds, because he doesn't have the number of attacks with that high strength, or he doesn't have, he's just not getting enough attacks in general, even with 10 attacks with the sword. If you can get full 10 attacks, like, you need to fight a 10-man Terminator squad, and you're going to kill like 4 or 5 of them if you're very lucky, and that's with you being outnumbered, so you're maxing out your attacks, and then you're going to get hit back by like 5 Thunderhammers, and then it's just bye-bye Primarch at that point. I don't see it happening personally. And if they're good Terminators, something really tanky, like Fire Drakes will put Sanguinius in the ground quicker than Horus did. Anyway, that's it. Mac with the Outer Circle. Thank you all for watching the episode, and I'll see you all on the next one.